Hello y'all, this is Equestria at War, a mod for Hearthstone 4 that takes place in a more grim and darker version of the My Little Pony setting. That's right, the TV show. It also adds in its own original content, and there is even quite a few country leaders inspired by real-life historical figures. We're going to play as the Kingdom of Wingbardi, a country unique to the mod that has a lot of influences from real-life Italy. We're greeted by some lore. In summary, Wingbardi was part of a larger empire but broke away from it, fought in a war against a neighbor, and fell into an economic crisis. Both fascist and communist parties have been established, and they are gaining support. The threat of a civil war is rising, and the government has remained silent so far. There is also many other issues such as famine and unemployment. Next up is regional information. Wingbardi is one of the strongest countries in the area. They lead their own faction and took the capital of neighboring Falkor. The population in this region primarily is griffins, but there is also ponies and minotaurs. The last two things we have here are the mechanics, such as the fact this mod introduced magical equipment and a race system. Moving on from this tab is the Changelog, which has information about updates and such. We start off with the non-aligned ideology in power, and for national spirits we have rampant unemployment, the Great Famine, political deadlock, and brain drain. Here is the faction Wingbardi is in charge of, the Karthinian Pact, which consists of us and 3 other countries. Looking at the military, the army has 15 divisions. Besides infantry and tanks, we have something called a Knights Division. We have a pretty sizable navy too, with the RM Gandrea Guerrilla acting as the pride of the fleet. The Air Force has 4 air wings. In total, it has 22 tactical bombers, 60 fighters, and a handful of naval bombers. Looking at the military technology, the tree is a little different. We have, unsurprisingly, a lot of stuff based on what the Italians had in our world. With that said, we have the latest weapons, basic tanks, up-to-date artillery, and anti-air. Moving on to airplanes, we have basic fighters, naval bombers, and basic tactical bombers. The research tree has a new category called Griffin Technologies, I guess because of the race system. In it is society and economy tech, military stuff, and night divisions, which apparently can take on armored vehicles. The mental image of that is quite interesting. Looking at the army commanders, we have tons of generals and field marshals, so we won't have any problems there. Going through this list, there is quite a few Equestria at War versions of real-life Italian commanders that took part in World War II. Now, for the Navy commanders, no problems there. We have more than enough admirals, but I have noticed that they have a race trait, which I imagine is shared with all the other commanders Wingbardi has. In the focus tree, we got a choice to make: stop the march or do march on Karthon. Let's do the latter, then complete meet with Mussolini and a fascist prime minister. The second one I mentioned will make the PNF the ruling party and remove the political deadlock national spirit. The march on the city of Karthon is coming, with many Black Wings planned to take part. Quite a few moderates and socialists in the government were shocked to learn that the king has no intention to stop the fascists. Government troops stand down, and the stage is set. To the distant north, the emperor of the Griffonian Empire is dead, having passed away after a long 40-year reign. Mussolini becomes prime minister after successful backroom meetings between him and the king. The leader of the far-right PNF has surprised many with the inclusion of socialists in his cabinet. Experts are skeptical of his chances to end the political deadlock. Supremacy has become the new ruling party ideology. It encompasses a variety of ultra-national movements. Also, Mussolini is the new country leader, and he has the trait of Il Duce. Mussolini, as expected, is based on the historical Italian leader Benito Mussolini. Mussolini's rise to power mirrors Mussolini, such as the march and being appointed to prime minister before consolidating power. In this world, perhaps this lion bird thing will not have to worry about a mustached man pulling him into wars all across the continent like his real-life counterpart. In the focus tree, we'll do make the trains run on time. After that, we'll complete education reform, then go to a branch on the left and do public works projects and National Food Act to begin fixing our economy and stop the famine. To the east, a war ends with the Griffin Liberation Army annexing the kingdom of Broadfeld. Somewhere in what I guess is the central part of the continent, a civil war begins in Longsword with the Rosewood Order fighting the county of Longsword. I thought the kingdom of Broadfeld was dead. Apparently they're not, because they just declared war on the Griffin Liberation Army, who just recently took them out. The new hetmanate, a neighboring country to the Griffin Liberation Army, intervenes in the Second War with Broadfeld by starting a conflict with the Liberation Army. The House of Erie declared war on the House of Erie in the north. There can only be one Game of Thrones reference country. I think they are anyway. Could be wrong though. A Grand Duchy broke free from the influence of the Griffonian Empire. The Empire seems to be losing control of their subjects. I suppose this has to do with the death of the previous emperor. In the focus tree, let's do renewed industries for the sake of the economy, then do crackdown on the communists, secure the parliament, fascism only, and news censorship. That last focus I mentioned will give Wingbardy a national spirit that buffs stability, weekly war support, and daily supremacy support. House Erie and House Irie sign a white peace and the Blue Moon Festival is celebrated. The festival is a traditional winter holiday involving gift exchanges, but it is ultimately the celebration of all the Griffin gods and divine unity in the Pantheon. The Irite Arcanate becomes a subject of the Griffonian Empire. The Arcanate seems to be the Equestria at war equivalent of the real-life Vatican, at least for the Griffin race. I noticed that this mod has background history for some states, such as Karthinian, which was apparently at one point the center of its very own empire, and is referred to as the Eternal City for its many old districts. In these aspects, it could be compared to the real-life city of Rome. Another state with its own background history is Falkor, referred to as the Lost Capital. Once the capital of Falkor, it was lost to the Wingbardians in a brutal 4-year war, and is seen as little more than a trophy to Wingbardy. Speaking of Falkor, they have become led by the supremacy ideology too. Though their type is a little different from ours, they adhere to what is called imperialism, which promotes aggressive expansion as a way to increase the power and wealth of the state. A subject breaks away from the not-so-far-away country of the Kingdom of Aquileia that leaves them with just one puppet. I thought it was just countries going free, but apparently there was more to it, because now the Kingdom of Aquileia gets to fight a revolution against the monarchy. As for nearby conflicts going on, there is still the Griffin Liberation Army versus 2 countries, and the revolution going on in Aquileia, which at this point it doesn't look like the kingdom will win unless they have some kind of miracle. Communism is banned in Wingbardy. Many left-wing party members are arrested, some flee the country, and some go underground. Meanwhile, the PNF sees a massive spike in membership numbers. Fascists of Wingbardy seized the parliament by passing the Adjurable Law, which lets the PNF hold the majority of the parliamentary seats, no matter how many votes the majority party has. A Marite cult is uncovered with its members being arrested. Mar, I reckon, being some sort of deity. Anyway, as the custom goes, the Marites will be executed as soon as possible. The Kingdom of Aquileia has managed to recover and is in fact going on the offensive, and it looks like the revolution will be defeated. Unsurprisingly, the revolution has failed, and it seems that a reign of terror seeking to purge the last remnants of republicanism is expected. In the focus tree, let's do Glory to Wingbardy, Pressure Allies. Straight down after that, let's do Southern Security Council and Pressure Falkor. Falkor being the country that is our neighbor that is most likely still angry over losing their capital to Wingbardy. Falkor may be the one to make the first move, since we have just got the notification that they are justifying on us. In preparation for any kind of attack, our divisions have been placed on the border. There it is, at least we were ready, because Falkor has declared war. We're going to make sure they regret starting this, because we seem to have more divisions on the front line than they do. That's going to let us advance into their territory and just simply have more soldiers available. There is also a naval invasion coming soon. A few divisions of theirs are elsewhere on the border of one of our faction members. I guess in this scenario we invite them in, but hey, that's less enemies for us to fight. The Pressure Falkor focus is bypassed because of, the war. Since we essentially skipped one focus, let's do 2 more, starting with the Sycamine question, then expand the pack. There was this big naval invasion that was expected to take the enemy by surprise, but it looks like the Marines will be beaten to the port by the forces on land. The Duchy of Talos wants to join the war. We're going to decline that request because Wingbardy is doing just fine by itself. The Griffin Liberation Army has lost their war. Their lands was carved up between Broadfeld and the New Hetmanate, both of which have different names now. Falkor has been on the defensive in this war. It won't be long before we get to their last important city and they will capitulate. Our enemy will be annexed entirely. This will greatly expand the size of the kingdom of Wingbardi. We'll continue taking part in conflicts by answering the Sycamine question by declaring war on the federated parishes of Sycamine. Our troops just need to get ready first. This will be a challenging fight because the Sycamine army could have something around 20 plus divisions. For reference, we have 30. On the sea, battle takes place between our two navies. It looks like ours will be the one to come out on top. We win a major victory on the water. In the process, their pride of the fleet is sunk. Control of the sea will let us set up naval invasions without opposition. We fight on the main front as well as over a port city we somehow lost control of. It is important to reclaim it because it will be used to launch marines into enemy territory. The strategy is to land divisions in the enemy capital, then reinforce them and fan out to take the rest of the victory points. The eerie feud comes to an end with the two rivals signing a treaty of friendship and peace. In the focus tree, let's complete the focuses: claim Griffinstone, Wingbardian Empire, and Southern Society of Science. Our strategy is working as planned. We just gotta take the city of Equestria. There may be some encirclements along the way. Sycamine has lost. Let's turn our attention to the kingdom of Griffinstone, who shouldn't be too hard to beat in a war since they have a fair share of problems going on in their country. The Changelings win a war on another continent. Meanwhile, our country fights a different war, a war on drugs. We're going to invade Griffinstone. Their army is only 13 divisions at most, so we should be able to just smash through anything we encounter. The House of Erie and the House of Airy join the House of Avian in a faction. That faction is called the Intergigantes Tripartite. The holy city of Griffinstone, the cradle of Griffinkind, falls to the Wingbardian advance. We won and annexed Griffinstone. So far we have conquered 3 countries. This makes the kingdom of Wingbardi look pretty massive in comparison to how it started out. The Wingbardian Empire focus is finished. This unlocked decisions to integrate countries' governments by using our influence, but more important is the decision to restore Carinthia. By pressuring the county of Francistria, a member of our faction, they become a subject to the kingdom of Wingbardi and get a national spirit named integration. The last true objective foreign policy-wise we have is demand New Maryland, but we need the opportunity to arrive, so we'll just do some other focuses until that time comes. All of the other members of the Karthinian Pact have been transformed into our subjects, and they each follow the supremacy ideology like Wingbardi. With the integration finished, we can do the Restore Karthinia decision, and we'll do it right away. The restoration of Karthinia, we're now known as the new Karthinian Empire, and we have a new flag. I guess this will be Biccolini's equivalent to Mussolini's idea of a new Roman Empire. The Sovereign Republic of Asterion wants to join the Karthinian Pact. Sure, more the merrier. Asterion looks to be where Minotaurs live, and they have the supremacy ideology controlling their country, so it's no surprise they wanted to join our faction. The moment has come to demand New Maryland. This place we're wanting is where ponies live. Hopefully Equestria will accept, because Equestria is the overlord of the Commonwealth of New Maryland, and they're in a war with some malevolent resurrected king or something, so that should give us more leverage. They refused our demand, so off to war we go. I'm really banking on them not sending Maryland any reinforcements. We quickly captured the important city of Sunset, but our enemy has made moves too and took a port, so we'll have to send a couple divisions back to retake it. Our country is targeted by bandits. It's whatever because we're still winning the war. The last holdouts of opposition are on islands. To deal with this, we have sent some naval invasions to push away whatever is left of New Maryland. We capitulated our foe. Let's use a decision to sue for peace and see if Equestria will agree and put an end to this war. Equestria gives in, so this ends the conflict. They have bigger issues at home to deal with, like a war with the Changelings. Wingbardi has become something new, yet something old as well, with its capital Carthon once again being the center of a mighty empire. I'm going to stop the video here. If you enjoyed the mod, make sure to check it out in the description below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Have an awesome day. I'll see y'all later. Bye.